It only took 2 months, but here we are. We finally have an official trailer for Zootopia 2. I've spent the last 9 years of my life waiting for Zootopia 2. Zootopia is one of my favourite movies of all time, and it's one I can watch over and over again without ever getting bored. I already talked about this in the video I made before the first teaser came out, so I don't want to just repeat myself, but basically Zootopia, Inside Out and Moana were my golden trio of Disney movies growing up. All 3 of those movies came out within 18 months of each other, from 2015 to 16, and it's crazy that 10 years later, all 3 of them will have gotten sequels in that same time span. However, Disney's reputation over the last few years has been not the best. I still haven't seen the live-action Lilo and Stitch, so I can't give an opinion on whether the movie itself is good, because different people have told me different things about it, but my faith in Disney is currently quite low because of Moana 2. Moana deserved better, and I think coming off of the very successful critical and box office reception of Inside Out 2, I should have had higher hopes, but I just didn't think that turning a TV show into a movie less than a year before said movie comes out could work out for the studio. And it did financially, of course, but I sat through all 100 minutes of Moana 2 with my family in my living room with a completely blank face. What on earth happened? So of course, I wanted to keep my hopes up for Zootopia 2, but I would need to wait until the trailer dropped. 3 sequels to 3 of my favourite films ever, 2 were already out, 1 was amazing, 1 was mediocre, so I needed the 3rd and final instalments in this trilogy to restore my faith in Walt Disney Studios, and it just might. I wrote my previous video on whether I believed if Zootopia 2 could save Disney or not before the trailer released, and I planned on editing in a live reaction to the actual trailer at the end and then posting the video immediately after. However, eventually I just got bored of waiting and I uploaded the video about a week before. And I must say, I'm really glad I did, because I was not impressed with the teaser trailer. It didn't feel like a trailer, and I know I've said in previous videos that I'm not super proud of that I love a good teaser trailer, and this was pretty much the definition of a teaser, but personally I like my teasers to have a little bit of dialogue, or trailer captions, or like an actual minor narrative within it. This teaser trailer had a nice flow to it, I'll give it that, but it just felt like one of those kind of stimulation videos you'd give to a toddler to watch so they'll be quiet at a restaurant, rather than a means of getting the now grown-up audience that watched the original Zootopia in cinemas in 2016 interested in the movie. Looking back, I think the reason I was disappointed with this first teaser was because of the build-up to it. 24 hours before, there was a big build-up to the premiere on YouTube, and when you clicked on the video, it just showed a looping clip of the characters from Zootopia doing their own things, and in the end, the trailer itself just ended up being that with a couple of seconds of new footage. I say that you should never judge a movie by its trailer, unless that trailer is Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, in which case you can 100% judge the movie without seeing it. But to say I was disappointed would be an understatement. Well, maybe not quite that far, but my excitement for the movie definitely died down after that. Before that teaser came out, I was jumping up and down, running to all my friends and family, telling them, "The Zootopia 2 trailer's coming out!" And then afterwards, they were like, "How was the trailer?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it happened." Anyway, on with my life, and then I just kind of forgot about it. 2 more months, and here we are, July 30th, 2025, and the official trailer for Zootopia 2 comes out, and I honestly now have really high hopes for this movie. I knew a few things about this film, tracing back to the stuff that leaked at D23 last summer, but now seeing everything in high quality officially released to the public makes me very excited. There is so much to unpack with this trailer. Firstly, the animation style. Say what you want about Disney, you can't say the animation isn't really smooth and pretty to look at, most of the time. The animation itself is really good, but also a little different, and by which I mean it looks more cartoony. And obviously it's a cartoon, but I mean in the sense that it's more slapsticky in parts. Now, I have differing opinions on this type of animation, maybe because it's typically used by studios that are not Disney. You would usually see this kind of animation in a film by Sony or Illumination, and that's fine. If Disney wants to borrow certain traits from other studios, which it really doesn't have to, they need to realise that this type of animation works best when it's used effectively. Take the Hotel Transylvania franchise, for example. This is something that I know is probably an unpopular opinion, but I just think one of the things that ruined that franchise was the shift in animation style. The first movie is incredible, and I've watched it so many times, and yes, there are moments where the animation is a little defying the laws of physics, which is totally fine in some cases. They are mostly monsters after all. but the animation and the ways the characters move 90% of the time was smooth and I guess not exhausting to look at. But by the time you get to the fourth movie, every single thing that all the characters did was at 200% every single frame. I didn't watch the fourth movie, but I can tell from reviews that I've watched that they amplified the over-the-top movements way of the third movie, which was already bad enough in that sense, further, which I don't think anyone was asking for. Pause the movie at any point and the characters are probably in some sort of unrealistic position with any few parts of their bodies. Like, they can't even stand up properly, their spine is either broken in half or they're leaning back super far, or you get my point. When you use that kind of slapsticky style of animation all the time, it doesn't work as well. Bit of a sidetrack there, but my point is, based off of this trailer alone, Zootopia 2 seems to know how to use this animation style effectively. As long as they don't overdo it, I think this animation works in the world of Zootopia. Next, of course, we have to talk about the content of the trailer. I am not ashamed to admit that I am a wild hops shipper, and I always have been, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. I've shared my thoughts on shipping in general in my Tangled retrospective, which you should totally go and watch, and I am someone who loves to ship. Even if it doesn't happen canonically, it's fun to imagine. But I have a feeling that Disney knew what they were doing with this trailer. Zootopia as a brand has always been embraced by the furry community, which I'm not a part of, by the way, but it's totally fine if you are. And I've already seen some people talking about how Nick in a suit is doing stuff to them. Same with Judy having her ears off in a bun. They knew what they were doing, and you can't tell me otherwise. Partner therapy to begin with. That look they give each other when those other partners start fighting, and the whole thing with Nick grabbing Judy's ears. Again, the suit and dress. This looks like those fan-edited images from fan fiction sequels that I used to enjoy watching when I was younger, but it's real. And it's snowing! Oh my gosh. Also, it seems like the movie is taking place only a week after the first, which is definitely not what I was expecting. And I also think this just makes sense for the next chapter in the Zootopia story. We're getting more of Burgo and Clawhauser, and by the way, how do people feel about that ship? Because I'm here for it. I already talked about the new characters in the last video, but from what people have been speculating, I really hope this plot doesn't go down the predictable route. Predictable in the sense that the snake, Gary, is going to end up being a totally cool dude, and the Quokka therapist ends up being the criminal mastermind. If that's the way things end up being, I will be slightly disappointed, because Disney does have the chance to save themselves here if they put the right energy into it. It's taken 9 years, and if it's anything less than 3 times what Moana 2 was in terms of being a good sequel, I will not be impressed. But this trailer did have some moments that made me laugh, on the inside at least. I'm usually quite skeptical for most movie trailers, but for this one, I did have a warm feeling in my chest watching this. After we watched the trailer, my dad turned to me and said, "I think that looks rather promising," and then he could tell that I was suppressing myself because I was so excited after watching the trailer. November is going to be a good month for movies. This and Wicked Part 2, I am so excited to go to the cinema. So now, to definitively answer the question, can Zootopia 2 save Disney? Based on this trailer, I hope so. I don't know. I said that about Inside Out 2 and whether it could save Pixar, and for a while it did sort of. I'm usually the Pixar defender, but I can admit that their marketing for their movies isn't always the best. I don't think it's as bad as people try to make it out to be, but comparing how they marketed Inside Out 2 to how they marketed Elio is 2 whole different stories. And while I don't think that blaming the audience for Elio's failure at the box office was the right way to go about things, it does infuriate me when people don't go and see original movies and then complain about studios not making original movies. They are, and yes, they may not always market things the best, but a lot of the time people are complaining about a lack of marketing on the marketing. If the movie doesn't look like something you personally would enjoy, that's totally fine, but don't go complaining that studios aren't making original movies, because they are. You know it exists, and if you want them to stop making sequels, too bad, because they won't. But my thing is, I don't mind if Disney and Pixar want to keep making sequels as long as they're good sequels. Inside Out 2 was good. Moana 2 was less good. We'll have to wait and see if Zootopia 2, Toy Story 5 and Incredibles 3 end up being good. But we should also be willing to give things like Hoppers a chance. The only thing that people are saying about the Hoppers trailer is that they hope it's marketed properly, and I know plenty of amazing films that don't have great marketing. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for both studios because I know they have potential to be as good as they used to be known for. They just need to be more willing to take risks. I say, how about they make an original movie as if it's a sequel? That could give the audience the chance to imagine for themselves what might have happened previously, and that could also be a really unique experience. I don't want them to stop making sequels. There are some films that deserve and have plenty of room left for sequels, Zootopia being one of them. But I think if animation studios want to succeed going forward, it's going to take both the studios trusting the audience and the audience being willing to give the studios a chance with their movies, sequel or original. Even if the marketing isn't the best, the internet exists. there are always other ways to find out what movies are coming out. I don't know if the movie will be any good from a storytelling perspective, I can only hope. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we get to see more of Judy and Nick and their adventures together. And I can feel the 8-year-old girl inside of me feeling very excited for November. I've said my piece, and now I'm going to look forward to Zootopia 2 coming out at the end of the year.